So good afternoon, everyone. It is 12 p.m. on Thursday, April 20th, 2023. I'd like to welcome you all to today's Blitz session on Earnnest with Blaine Wellgraven. Thank you for that. Thank you so much for all of you for being here. As always, for anyone watching this in the future, please be aware that some of this information may have changed, so feel free to contact our training department with any questions. And lastly, as a reminder, this will be recorded. So for both buffering purposes and your privacy, you may want to turn your camera off. If you have any questions, please feel free to raise your virtual hand or use the chat. We'll get them answered right away. And with all that said, I'd like to welcome Blaine Wellgraven. Blaine, thanks so much for being here and for giving me a heads up on your name. Appreciate it.
No, thank you so much. Really appreciate y'all having me today. And we've really enjoyed this partnership, everyone, and working with all the BHHS town agents over the years, gotten to know many of you, and our support team, which I also run, has interacted with many of you as well. It's been a wonderful partnership. We were very early on as a startup company. Y'all joined us about 2019, early 2020, and we'd only been doing transactions since 2018. So BHHS town was one of the first to say, this is the future. Digital earnest money makes sense. Come on board. So really excited to be presenting to you all today. I will be very honest with you, I don't use Microsoft Teams a great deal. In fact, Town is one of the only clients I work with that does it, so I'm a little bit slower on it. If I make any mistakes, though, you have in advance why I'm struggling. So we'll get that taken care of here shortly. Before I present my screen, guys, we're going to walk you through three things today. First off is our dot loop integration. It's a beautiful integration. It's simple. It's in your workflow, highly secure. We'll spend most of our time there. We will also introduce, since we're not in the dot loop mobile app yet, sometimes when you're out and about on the road, it may be useful to have a secondary means of requesting digital earnest money. So we'll be showing you our phone app, everyone, our phone app. It's a 256-bit bank level encryption phone app that the average agent is able to use in about 90 seconds from wherever they are to generate a secure earnest money request. And finally, guys, I like to say one of the Earnnest differentiators, of which there are many, because we're not the only player in this space, but we are the largest, and there is a reason for it. And one of those reasons is that we have in-house marketing, and they do a tremendous job building pieces for agents like yourself so that you don't have to introduce this to a home buyer cold. You can instead print off a co-branded piece that shows the buyer our security setup in simple layman's terms, that walks the buyer visual step by visual step through the payment process, which is very simple, but still not everybody is a digital payments person. So we put these together to help you with your business introduce this to the clients. So those are our broad three things we'll cover today. I'm going to share my screen here in just a moment. Should be seeing that now. All right, bring this over here. All right, guys. Now, with that said, you can see here on this integration screen, we're at earnnest.com and then earnnest.com partners integrations. If you ever want to come back and review any of the information that I'm going to be walking through today, you are able to do so very easily, simply by coming back to this page. And we're going to hover into dot loop. And of course, on dot loop's page, we have kind of everything you would need, a one-stop shop, if you will, to come back and revisit this. We have how-to videos. We have webinars that are joined anytime. You can just click the button and sign up and jump into a live webinar. Got a little bit of information about it, some of our partnership information. We even have a visual guide. Maybe you don't want to watch a video of how to do it the first time. We've got a step-by-step visual guide for you here. But I'm going to walk you through the process as well. And honestly, it couldn't be too much easier. Again, everybody still see my screen okay? We doing good? Okay, great. All right, guys, so when you're in your individual loop here, I'll click into a loop. Earnnest has been here all along. Some of you may have used it before, but for those of you that have not, we are just this send Earnnest request button right here. When you click that, we'll introduce ourselves, all right? And then we'll take over. And from here, if it's your first time, you'll be asked to create an account. Now, what I'm about to say next is actually really important for how our product functions. It will make life a lot easier for you going forward. Whether you're using the phone app or the dot loop integration, use the same work email address because they are all one account underneath the hood. So we've got agents that'll use 5 different email addresses, and nothing breaks when you do that, but all your requests are siloed by that email login. So just use one email address when you set up your account initially. Once you set up the account, the only thing you'll have to do, guys, when you come back is put in your email address. There are no passwords for home buyers or you as the agent creating the requests in our system. It's way more secure. We just send you a 6-digit code, very simple. comes to you in real time. It expires after 5 minutes, and that is what you will plug in to log in every time. The phone app, which I'll show in a moment, does have Face ID that you can set up as well, but otherwise the phone app and our integration with dotloop are parallel paths. Now notice, guys, the information we ask for is not complicated. You just need to be able to build a complete request here to send to the home buyer, and that includes their first and last name, their email, their phone number, as well as all the deposit details, how much earnest money, the property address. Now notice what's cool about our dotloop integration, everyone, is I didn't have to fill this information out. If you filled out your contract details in dotloop, it will pull automatically. All of this information will just be there waiting for you when you log into the portal. Only thing you need to do then, having selected the state as Virginia, our smart search filter is only searching the state of Virginia. You just need to pick the correct town location. Now again, this smart search, all these names are just office locations, but they are all pointed at the correct escrow accounts. So this is part of the Earnnest security, guys. It's simple for you to create the request. Let's say I want Mitchell. So I'm going to back out a little bit and just type Mitchell instead. Narrows it down far faster. By clicking on Beach Mitchell, you have locked in the final destination of the earnest money. The payer can't change it. No one can come in from the outside and reroute it. Unlike a wire or a check, which fraud is escalating on both those fronts, Earnnest secures where the money is going, and all you have to do is pick the right account name. Really simple, closed, very beautiful, and it means we've been able to do 225,000 transactions, guys, with no successful fraud attempts in our system. Earnnest is among the safest ways to send earnest money today. Otherwise, guys, you're basically on the home stretch here. Notice something which I'll highlight in more detail in a moment, that we keep all payers and the home buyer and everybody involved in this transaction, the back office at BHHS Town, the home buyer, the agent, are all looped in via our customized receipts. What that means is that when a buyer receives your request and they click authorize in our system, instantaneously everybody gets an earnest payment receipt so that you know that earnest money has been paid. Indicate you have a fully executed contract and you are ready to request that $5,000. Now this is live and I don't want to mess with the accountants at BHHS Town by creating a false request, so I'm not going to go any further, but you can see how easy that was. Very, very simple. Now before I transition to the phone app then, I want to go ahead and stop sharing for just a moment and see if there are any questions. Okay, we'll keep going, guys. Let me know if you have questions as we go along. Not a large group today, so happy to just stop in the middle of the flow here and do that. All right, going to share my screen again, guys, and I'm going to try, if I can figure out the navigation here, to drop a link to you all. But if you have iPhone or whatever you're using today, Android, you can go to the App Store or Google Play to download the phone app today if you'd like. And I'm also dropping the link on our website in the chat. There it is for everybody. Feel free then to go ahead and visit those places and get the phone app for free today. It is easy to set up. And you should see it on my screen here as well. Okay. Now the phone app, again, I mentioned it's bank level security, but it's an award-winning phone app for its simplicity as well. We designed this so an agent could go through in 90 seconds and create their earnest money request. Let's do that now. All right, screen one. You're going to go through 6 screens total, guys. First screen is identifying whether you have the home buyer's email address or not. In this case, I'm going to say yes, I do have it. I'm the agent. And then you're going to go ahead and punch in an address. All right, so I'm going to punch in 984 First Colonial Road. Now notice that I don't have to finish typing the complete address because this screen is connected to Google Maps, guys. Saves you time and energy. It will very quickly narrow down the correct options. However, if this is a new build, new set of apartment complexes, or just a lot number somewhere, you can enter the address manually, as Google may not have it, okay? Otherwise, it populates and leaves an addenda field blank for you to add additional details. You confirm the address, and screen 2 is just entering the earnest money amount. Let's say it's $5,000 today. Screen 3, again, You're just populating in the home buyer's email address. Notice, guys, that all the information I'm entering in here, as I mentioned earlier, is perfectly replicating the card I just filled out from the dot loop integration. There is the same information being requested here. This is the search screen. Who's your escrow holder? Now, this is a demo environment. I'm not in a live product right now, so you can see these are just dummy accounts. But notice in the phone app that once you've picked your preferred town escrow holder once, it will always be suggested for you thereafter. And finally, guys, one little advantage in the phone app. Again, if you're out and about and can't use dot loop, you're using the phone app, you can add additional recipients onto the receipt pathway. So let's say you need to go ahead and drop in the lender. Lenders love getting Earnnest receipts because all the core transaction details are on them. But you finish setup and now you have a customized, secure, ready to send request to the home buyer that they'll receive in real time. Everybody's looped in on the pathway, so everybody has visibility once it's paid. And what's really cool is once you click back into the phone app main screen, you see here I'm under my active tab, all your requests that are still out there in the world are under your active tab. And you can click into each one and actually have kind of the equivalent of a Domino's pizza tracker, right? But for Earnnest money, you can see every step your payer takes going through the transaction in real time. And after the payment is authorized, you can also see the payment moving across the ACH network. And super important here, guys, when you use Earnnest for any kind of digital Earnnest money request, whether you're in dot loop or the phone app, make sure to call your home buyer. We've heard this over and over again. We mention it in every training. Home buyers are busy people. I'm sure y'all have never worked with a home buyer that's forgotten anything, but maybe they do. You'll want to make sure they look right away in their inbox to get this Earnnest, pay your Earnnest money request. If they do forget, though, in the phone app, you can see that they haven't moved forward, so you could always resend. And it would send it, and it'll give the option to send as an email or a text message if they prefer. Okay? Also, if a deal falls apart, there is this trash can icon. As long as the payer hasn't logged in and created their account to pay their Earnnest money, you can still trash this request, which will move it automatically into the inactive column. So you have a record of all those deals that actually fell apart. And finally, guys, you see you have the trackability within each request. You have the trackability from our receipts. You'll also have trackability in that every request that gets paid and then deposits 1 to 3 business days later will move over to this deposited column for you. And finally, guys, back at the home screen here, you also have a menu tab. You can do a lot back here, including setting up Face ID. But guys, importantly, you can call right out to support from here as well. No going to a third-party site, no chat bot, just call the number that's right there. And if a support specialist doesn't pick up, we have a 3-minute set time on our calls, and then if no one picks up, no one's available, it goes to voicemail. We call 100% of our clients back same business day, so you will get a call back. Again, I always like to stop here just to make sure we're okay, that everybody's tracking just fine, before we move to the final piece of this, which is our marketing material that we provide. Any questions at all so far? Okay. I'm dropping in the link for our marketing resources, guys. These are very useful. These are heavily downloaded every month by agents. Again, we were formed by an agent, so you can kind of see that in our workflow. And our agents who helped form us said you're going to need materials for agents to break this down for their home buyers. First stop here is just notice that we have the receipts on our page so that you understand exactly how this looks. Again, you can see why, with the receipt on the left being our payment receipt, why lenders love to get this. All right, it's got all the transaction details. It even has a trackable ID on the bottom, as well as having the destination escrow account, the sending bank, and the receiving bank. And notice how we monetize, guys. The one way we monetize this product right here is the $18 flat fee to the home buyer. We settled on 18. Doesn't matter if it's 5 or 50K in Earnnest money. We settled on 18 because we wanted to be about half the cost of a typical wire. Now, as far as the marketing resources we provide, also on this same page, guys, there are customizable PDFs that are co-brandable that you can give to your home buyer who needs to make a payment, step-by-step guide of the screens they'll go through. The average home buyer does this in 3 to 4 minutes, guys. And while they're doing this, connecting their bank account, we are doing a balance check wherever possible to make sure they actually have the funds necessary in the savings or checking account they've selected to make the Earnnest money payment. That's working behind the scenes for you guys. What about security? I mean, we definitely live in an age where everybody's concerned about that, right? I mean, I'm in South Carolina myself, and about 6, 7 years ago, the state lost or had hacked all of the Social Security numbers, virtually all of them. It's like 97% of the residents of South Carolina had their Social Security number taken. Well, we want to make sure that your home buyers are comfortable with this product. Our record speaks for itself, but information and PII, personally identifiable information, Earnnest doesn't store it, in short. But you'll be able to hand this co-brandable piece to them with your logo on it and answer those questions, the most commonly asked ones we see, one at a time. We've even got a comparison chart in here, guys. If you're dealing with a home buyer that's on their 7th home, they may be very, very familiar with wires and checks, but they won't maybe have an idea about Earnnest. So we kind of paint the picture of where we fit into the landscape, all right? And finally, guys, I mentioned co-brandable. It could not be easier. My wife is a graphic designer. I am decidedly not. I need it to be simple. You click this box, any logo you grab for your BHHS Town logo, it will reshape to fit this box. Print it off, and presto, you have got a co-branded, ready-to-use buyer presentation piece. So I really hope this was useful today, everyone. I'd love to be able to walk through any questions y'all have. Anything around dotloop, the phone app, or our marketing pieces, guys?
Anything? Going once, going twice. All right. Well, thank you so much, Blaine. Earnnest is pretty awesome, and we are thankful to have you here to keep explaining it for us, especially from the Rosenwomble side, doing this merger. It's new to us, and it looks like it's a great tool. So we really appreciate your time and sharing those links.
Thank you so much, guys. Any questions at all, please do take advantage. Our support team email and phone number on our homepage. They're accessible to you in the phone app and in the dotloop integration. So we really do want to help with this. Thank you, guys.